Hello viewers, this is Say-La-Vee, and today we are back with episode 5 of the Pathfinder series, which means we are doing a combat demo. Now, if you want to know anything about the 4 characters that you see here on your screen today, make sure you go back and watch those episodes beforehand. I will link in the description both the Pathfinder overall playlist and the playlist to these 4 characters. A quick brief description: the big brawler is a grappling monk that we're hoping to get some fun out of. The cross healer is a medic cleric that uses a crossbow as a weapon. We have the musical magician, which is just a 2-muse bard. They're simply for support and some knowledge on the field. And also we have the tower medic, which is a standard human fighter. However, they wield a spiked tower shield and magical equipment. So without further ado, let's get into some lore as to why we're here in this arena. So our adventurers find themselves in a small town along the coast of a world called Xenon Oceania. It's a archipelago style world with lots of aquatic travel from location to location. There are also fantastical beasts and creatures that live here in these locations, and dinosaurs are unfortunately taken into control of powerful warlords and used in arena-style combat. Our adventurers find themselves in the main hub of one of the overlords that oversees a good portion of the dinosaur trafficking, and have decided to take on a challenge that they may not come out of in order to stop some of this. This is a challenge that no one has ever completed before, and our group thinks that they can do it. So, without further ado, let's hop into our combat here. So, highlighting everybody, we're going to right-click and throw them into combat. Now, just so everybody is aware, real quick, I will open up my modules and show you this is obviously Foundry that I'm using. You can see the build of 328 and the Pathfinder build of 6.2 up in the top. And I am using these modules here. If you want to pause at any point and take a peek at them, you're more than welcome to. But that being said, let's run ourselves into a combat. There we go. Let's roll some initiative, why don't we? Of course, first is the monk of all characters, and he says, you know what? I don't want to go yet. I'm going to wait for at least a buff before I get out of here, and he is going to delay his turn. So, we progress to... Go back to the start here. Okay, so we progress to our musical magician, and he says, alright, take this buff and get out there. So he is going to... There we go, this decides to show up. We're going to Lingering Composition. Now, Lingering Composition is it's a focus spell that says that we can attempt a performance against a standard DC for our level. Now, a DC for our level, according to my sheet on my other screen, is 20, and he did not succeed. On a failure, however, he does not spend the point. So he wastes a free action, which is no big deal, obviously, on trying to boost his Courageous Anthem. He does not. So all of his allies are going to get some Courageous Anthem here. If I could click and drag today, that'd be nice. Okay. So each of them are going to get a Courageous Anthem. He is then going to reach into his belt pocket and pull out a scroll, which in his inventory he has 2 scrolls, one of invisibility and one of force barrage, and he is going to wait to cast this 3rd rank force barrage spell at some point in the combat. And then for his 3rd action, he is going to draw his longbow into his other hand. Now, next in initiative would be the monk. The monk says, thank you for your support, and he is going to use an action to stride with his, if we look here, 35 feet of movement speed. That right there was 15 feet. He comes out, about here he saw that there are dinosaurs on either side, and he is going to go for back to the 15 feet this direction first. So 20 to move there. He's going to move 35 feet to here. And he is going to prepare to aid the fighter if they make it to a point where they can attack. Next is this Deinonychus. Now Deinonychus has 30 feet of movement speed, so he is going to run forward and leap off the edge here into the threatened square almost into a threatened square of the big brawler here. He is going to use a second action to step, and then a third action to use the darting strike ability, which means that it can make a talon strike with a 14 to hit. Unfortunately does not hit, and is then going to use the second part of that darting strike to move 10 feet backwards. Moving on to the next turn, we have the Deinonychus over here. He's going to run, leap, and continue up to here, 90 feet. Seeing this creature over here is going to try and swing wide and come around. It is now the cross healer's turn. The cross healer has her crossbow in hand, reaches into her chest, grabs her holy symbol, and is going to cast a spell here to help out her allies. So she's going to cast a first rank bless spell and is then going to stride forward 20 feet. She, of course, has a 35-foot movement speed as well, and is met by a dinosaur. The Stegosaurus is going to delay its turn because it is stuck inside this chamber and cannot get out. So it's going to actually move and then ready in action to tail swipe anything on that bridge. Moving next to the Tower Medic. The Tower Medic is going to use an action to stride, come out, see this here, get into a flanking position, and is then going to try and attack with his shield, get a critical strike, which will roll critical damage. It takes 28, and then seeing how telling that blow was, he's actually going to go in for another strike and hit, which will unfortunately dispatch that Deinonychus. That is the Tower Medic's turn. Moving on to the next Deinonychus. It's going to run 30 feet, leaping down off that stairwell, which I forgot to mention, this is a 10-foot raised section. I'm just not updating heights. The Deinonychus is going to now attempt to tumble through. So let's go here and add tumble. If I could spell. Let's add tumble through to this character sheet. Roll tumble through, targeting him. I meant to click acrobatics. That's a success by 0, so he is going to get through to this side, treating it as difficult terrain, so he has just enough movement speed, and is then going to use its third action to darting strike, just like its ally. Next turn is the next Deinonychus. It is going to run forward, leap off, of course, run to here. 30 feet of movement, and is then going to move 10 feet as part of its darting strike to try and attack this guy, because the darting strike, mind you, can move before or after the strike. Now, top of round 2, Courageous Anthem ends. It is the Bard's turn. The Bard is going to step here, and then down to here, using his 25 feet of movement speed. He is then going to use an action to try and Courageous Anthem again. A 27 will succeed, but not critically succeed. So, in order to update this in such a way that applies the success effect of causing it to increase the round... Oh, I clicked counter performance. I meant to click lingering composition. In order to apply this 3-round success, what you have to do is you have to click on this little pencil, and then you can select and change. So let me do this to everybody. And of course, like we talked about in the build video, this is going to just free up that action that he keeps spending. And he is going to use an action to prepare to aid the cross healer, knowing that they aren't far behind in initiative. The monk is going to step forward 15 feet and flurry of maneuvers, which, in case you forgot what, he is going to step forward. He is going to enter his wolf stance, and then he is going to flurry of maneuvers, attempt to grapple, which is a success. He is grabbed, and then, of course, because grapple is a attack, we're going to multiple attack here, and they are going to take 15 damage. Moving on to that Deinonychus, it is going to use an action to try and escape. Athletics is higher. That's a fail. It is then in a frantic panic going to try and attack. Escape is an attack, so we have the multiple attack penalty. Alright. In a flailing bout to try and get away from the monk, the Deinonychus decides to just stay in his arms, because that is the best idea it has. Moving on to the cross healer. The cross healer is going to pull up her crossbow and attempt to fire over here at this one. And the bard is then going to try and roll a 15 flat check to see if they can provide any sort of bonus by deceiving that Deinonychus. With a 28, that is a critical success. So when this character strikes, they're going to get a +2 circumstance bonus to their roll. That is a crit. 26 damage. Is going to use an action to reload the crossbow, and then another action to sustain the bless spell. Oh, okay, I figured it out. Alright, so I just floundered around for a little while. In order to increase it, you just click on the aura, and then you can right-click to reduce it. Alright, good to know. So, moving on next to the Stegosaurus, it is going to delay its turn and just wait. The Tower Medic is going to turn his focus over to this Deinonychus, make a strike with his shield. That is a regular hit this time. He is then going to raise his shield and draw out his Wand of Healing. Actually, he's going to draw out his Wand of Fleet Step. And move on. So this Deinonychus is going to move up to the Magician and target. Make a Talon damage on that. He is now taking bleed damage. He is then going to use his Darting Strike to try and hit again and move back 10 feet. Alright, so taking his D4 persistent bleed damage, he is not very happy. The tired Deinonychus is going to try and run away to join its friends, realizing that it needs to be in a pack. However, by using a move action, the Tower Medic is going to be able to use his reactive strike ability and hit, almost killing the Deinonychus. So it is going to move to here, 40, 50 feet here. I guess it can move its full 60. And then it is going to try and Darting Strike, move to here, and strike. And miss. Alright. Moving to the top of round 3, we have our musical magician, of course. He is going to draw a spell strike ammo. He's going to step to here, draw a spell strike ammo, and attempt to fire at the Stegosaurus. Where it's barely seen, I'm going to roll a flat check and miss. So he unfortunately is going to spend one of his spell strike ammo and miss that shot. And that is his turn. The big brawler down here is going to try and grapple again. Oh, he was supposed to take his bleed damage. So he takes the 4 damage and rolls a check and fails. So now it's officially the start of the big brawler's turn. The big brawler is going to attempt another grapple as part of a flurry of maneuvers. It is grabbed again. It is going to take the 4 bludgeoning damage from crushing grab that we forgot to apply last time. And then is going to make a wolf jaw strike, which is a critical hit, killing, and then rotating around, and is going to try and get off a 3rd strike this turn. With a miss, is going to... and then is going to leave the area. Using his 35 feet of movement speed, he is going to go try and say hello to this Stego. Moving up to the cross healer's turn. Cross healer is going to run over here, sustain the bless, and then make a regular strike with the crossbow. And that is a critical hit. 34 points of piercing damage and killing the creature. That is the cross healer's turn. The Stego is going to delay its turn again. And now we are at the tower medic. The tower medic, being on this side, is going to yell that he is going to go attempt to flank and is going to attempt to trick his magical item. So we need to roll the DC of 18 using his nature. That is a critical success. I don't think there is a critical success effect. However, he is going to use... Oh, okay. Well, I didn't realize it was going to roll, so we are not going to take the critical failure. We are going to allow him to keep the roll that he had first. And he is going to use his fleet step now to move 60 feet in one stride action. However, he just used his whole turn to trick and then use his item. Moving over to the very damaged Deinonychus, it is going to run up here, up and around as a small-sized creature. It's full 90 feet. And we are now at the top of the initiative again. The musical magician is going to step forward this direction. How far was that? 15 feet? He's going to move another 10 feet this direction to try and look up over this lip. Again, 10 feet. And is going to try and target the Stegosaurus with a spell. Telekinetic projectile. Using bludgeoning damage, because I'm assuming that it's a rock on the ground, and miss. And that is his turn, so we will roll his persistent bleed damage. And fails again. And now we are at the monk's turn. So the monk is going to run up 20 feet, 35 feet, So 2 stride actions to get to here, and is then going to attack at the Deinonychus with a flurry of blows using 2 strikes. Alright, the second one was a little overkill, but he manages. So now, seeing that that just happened, the Stego is finally going to act in initiative for the first time, and is going to strike all 3 times using its tail. And hit with 2 of them. Alright, so 38 total damage done to the monk, and he is not feeling too good after that. Moving up to the cross healer. The cross healer is going to step forward. They're 35 feet, and is then going to look up over and roll a heal spell versus the living, and apply 40 hit points back, and fully heal the monk. Moving to the tower healer, the tower medic. Tower medic is going to run 60 feet to there, 120 feet to there, and there's the Stegosaurus here. So let's just run that far for now. He is going to attempt to demoralize the Stegosaurus. We have never put demoralize on this creature, so demoralize. Alright, let's roll an intimidation. That's a failure, so unfortunately they are immune to that ability for 10 minutes now. And that is his turn. We are back to the magician. He's going to run up to here, 25 feet, and then another 25, 50 total to run up here, and is going to try and... That was 2 stride actions, so as an action he is going to use another spell to try and Courageous Anthem, but not linger at this time. Next in initiative would be the monk. He's going to step forward, flurry of maneuvers, try and to grapple the huge-sized creature. That is a failure. He is going to use his hero point to re-roll that, and turn it into a critical failure, falling himself prone. He is then going to try and use his wolf strike, and miss, and then third action, stand up. It is now the Stegosaurus' turn. The Stego is going to use 2 actions, or 1 action to step backwards 10 feet, and then use 2 actions to strike out with its tail, hitting both of them. Again, reducing him by 29 hit points this time. It is now the cross healer's turn. The cross healer is going to run 25, 35 feet to here. Is going to load in another, or she already did reload, is going to fire off a spell strike ammo at the Stego. Just barely hitting, rolling the damage of that, and the spell that was charged into that ability was was Enfeeble, because it has to be a first rank spell. They're going to attempt the save and succeed. Enfeebled 1 until the start of my next turn. Now it is the... I forgot to roll his persistent bleed damage again, so we'll do that now. That's gone for next round. We are going back to the official start of the Tower Medic's turn. He is going to run up 35 feet out of 60 and try and strike. Critically missing, he is going to use his hero point, turning it into a regular miss instead, unfortunately, and is then going to raise the shield. Back to the top of initiative. Stepping forward 10 feet. We'll measure real quick. Perfect. We are going to cast Courageous Anthem again. And then is going to use an action to cast Shield on himself. Moving up to the monk now. The monk is going to move forward 10 feet, get that flanking, and is going to try and just attack twice. Both of them hitting, dealing 8 damage, and then 21 damage. Two very different ends of the spectrum. That was 2 actions, and now with a third action is going to try and grapple, because why not? Giving it the -8 actually, because it's an unarmed attack, and fail, unfortunately, which we kind of expected, but it is now the Stego's turn. The Stego is going to use its 3-action ability Trample to stride up to double its speed and run over everything. So he is going to run back 5 feet and then run this direction another bit. Both of these creatures get to make a DC save. The Big Brawler succeeded and the Tower Medic failed. So we're going to roll the damage twice on the foot ability. He is going to take half of the 17, and he is going to take the full 11. Moving on now to the Cross Healer. The Cross Healer is going to step forward 25 feet and target with a a 2-action 3rd rank heal, bringing him back up by 37 hit points to a full heal, of course. The Tower Medic, losing his shield, is going to reach out to the stampeding Stegosaurus and try and strike. That is a hit, taking 16 points of damage. He is then going to raise his shield and take cover behind it as his 3 actions. Moving to the top of round 7, back to the Gnome. The Gnome is going to, again, Courageous Anthem. However, this time we are going to see if we manage to get off the Lingering Composition, and we do succeed. So let me do this all over again. The Musical Magician is then going to target, hopefully, at 45 feet away with another telekinetic projectile. This time, slashing. It's a piece of broken glass on the ground. And that is a hit for 11 points of damage. Next is the Monk. The Monk is going to run up the 35 feet, attempt a grapple check, and fail. Attempt another grapple check at -4 because the Agile Fist. That's a success. It becomes grabbed. And then Crushing Grab is going to deal the 4 damage to it. And then as a 3rd action on his turn, try and Wolfjaw strike it. Critically missing, unfortunately. Now it is the Stegosaurus' turn. The Stego is going to sweep attack once at him. That is a hit, but not a critical hit, thankfully. And is now going to strike at him with another attack, turning on sweep with a 29 to hit, dealing 17 points of damage, and is then going to try and escape. And that is a success, ending the grabbed condition on it. Moving to the cross healer, the enfeebled condition goes away. She's going to load in another spell strike shot, which I guess I should be checking to see. I've been firing the wrong ammunition. So let's go to our inventory. We fired 2 of those. Let's attempt to fire another here. That is a crit. Not very good critical hit damage, but 12 is better than nothing. And is then going to cast, through that spell, Command, attempting to make it fall prone. That is a failure. The first action on its turn must be to fall prone. Moving up to our fighter here, he removes his cover. He is going to attempt to tumble through this creature here and fail. So his movement is stopped. That is a wasted action. He is then going to now just try and hit it, missing and then raising the shield. The top of round 8, we are back to the gnome. The gnome is going to step forward his 25 feet, still inside that bless, and is going to target with the spell the scroll that he was holding before. This 3rd level force barrage. So this is going to be a /R. Oh, I can just do it here. Because it's a 3rd rank, it is plus 6 damage because we are rolling 6 die. And it is going to take, does it have any resistances or weaknesses to force? No, it does not. It is going to take 18 points of damage. Just kidding. He was not able to move. However, it is still within the 120 feet, so we are fine there. Let's make sure that was removed from his inventory. It was. Perfect. And next is the monk. So the monk is going to try and grab the prone creature. Critically failing and making himself fall prone. And then while prone, try and Wolfjaw strike. Missing. He's going to use an action to stand up and then make a 3rd less accurate strike, and actually hit. It is now the Stego's turn. The Stego uses the first action on its turn to fall prone, is then going to stand up and attempt to sweep its giant tail again, dealing 19 points of damage. Moving on to the healer again. The healer is going to step up 30 feet, adding their allies to the bless, sustain the bless to make it a huge area in case anything goes wrong, and then is going to use an action to enter the point blank stance. Moving to the medic. The medic is going to reach into their pocket and draw out, release the wand, reach into pocket, grab heal scroll, and is then going to attempt to trick the heal scroll. And that is a critical failure. I cannot use the item again until my next daily preparation. So unfortunately, a wasted turn for our fighter. However, he does still have an action left. He is going to raise his shield. Moving to the gnome. The gnome is going to step up and try and fire off his own 2-action 3rd rank force barrage. 2 actions at heightened would be fire another bolt. So 4 plus 4, 13 points of damage, killing the Stego, and making this battle victorious to where the dinosaurs will no longer be trafficked. Some final thoughts on this fight. I think I definitely could have done a couple things better. I think the layout of the dinosaurs made it a lot easier than some of the other combats that I've held in this very same arena with different enemies. I've also held this exact fight in different arenas, and it went a lot better. So, as a GM tip, make sure you have pack creatures together, especially nimble ones like the Deinonychus. And if you're going to add a very strong support fighter like the Stegosaurus to a combat, put them all in the same general area. I've found that that leads to a very complex and a very dangerous combat scenario for your players. So, with that being said, I hope that you guys liked the video. If you did, leave a like. If you disliked the video, give it a dislike. If you have anything that you want to say to me or the other people of YouTube, you can do that down in the comment section below. But this has been Say-La-Vee, and I say good night, or good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or whatever it is for you. Just have a good day, and bye-bye.